Hi guys, and welcome back to the next Minecraft video on my channel. I'm just going to be showing you what I built over the last day and a half. So yeah, let's get started. So in the last video I showed you guys my farm area that I built that's connected to the main town over there. And I mentioned that I want to build an animal pen in here, which I've done. So my initial idea was like having a bridge go over here and then straight into here, but that I couldn't make that look good. I'm not that talented, so I just kind of pulled the path down here, built the bridge there where I think it looks decent, and then just along the mountainside. And I plan on building a few more fields, like especially there, and a few more along here just to kind of fill up the area. Yeah, and then we have a wheat farm here. And then you can just walk along the path down right here. Come down here, and here's the animal pen, which I do think a city like this would have. And I don't know, I just chose this location because like the farms over there is close enough. Yeah, it's an animal pen. So there's a wall surrounding it. I tried to do some detailing with the coarse dirt and pathway blocks. Sometimes the animals also eat something, but that disappears relatively quickly. And this was like a natural cave of sorts that I hollowed out, and then I put hay back here because this would be a pretty good spot to store it because like rain can't get on it, so it can't really get that wet and moldy. And then I had the idea with the chains, like up here would be a pretty good storage spot for a bit of hay because hay's pretty light. You could get it up here relatively easy, and you could just chuck it down when you want to give it to the animals. I might add some cows and pigs maybe later, just have a mixed herd, a couple chickens. Was about to say goats, but those aren't in the game yet, or in the game. So yeah, and like up there, it's even safer from the wind and weather. So it's a pretty good storage spot because like my imagination would be that the wind would come from here and below towards there. So it would be safe, and it would also be safe from the sheep and all the animals. And yeah, and I also built a little storage room in here with all the wool that I've shorn by hand. So that's this part of the farm. And yeah, I'm also thinking about, so I'm not sure about this idea, so if you think it's a good idea, maybe tell me in the comments if you would like to see that. So my idea was I built a path along here. It goes down there, over this bridge, through this area. I'm not sure how I would do that, but I think it's manageable. And then it could be like over here on this, and then it could end here, and then I could have here like a little fishing village of sorts. You know what I mean? Because we're at the ocean, and yeah, and I do think that would be a real cool little concept. You know, like expand the city a bit over just the city walls and over the direct thingy. So I think that's an interesting. I can't talk today. I think that's an interesting idea. So if you think it's a good idea or have a better way of doing that, maybe something similar, please tell me in the comments. And yeah, then farms, I added a farm there, a couple more bees flying around. And then we come to the next biggest bit, these houses. So these houses are intended as shops, which you can see there. So that's actually a thing that in medieval cities they actually did, like, so the entire town is medievally inspired, in case you haven't noticed. But like, it's basically like, this is the beekeeper, and he sells honey. This is a shop front, you know, so he can close up at night, you know, so that people can't break in. He's a beekeeper. That's also why these houses have 2 stories, because like this residential house doesn't need to have 2 stories because the family lives in there. That's it. They don't need it. But for these houses, the family would be, if they didn't have 2 stories, they would have their business in here and live in here, and they would only have very limited and cramped space up here to store stuff. You know what I mean? So I just didn't think that would be realistic, and yeah, that's why I added another story, and I like the variety. Yeah, so this house is the baker's house. This house is pretty thin. Like, not only pretty, it's very thin because I had it. So I built this house first, and I built this house, and then this one. And this one's pretty thin. So, and just weird proportions all over. Like, yeah, and my thought was it's a bakery. Ignore that. I'm gonna come back to that later. So chimney, and here's some stoves where they bake bread, and then you can just open up and hand the people the bread. Yeah, this house has, like, this house would already had a second story because it's so tiny, and you need the space in this house. Like, I pre-built it with 2 stories. These 2 houses I had done, and then I thought I could expand them. This house right here, I haven't added the little sign yet. I forgot to do that. This one's intended as like a grocery store, like with all the vegetables. So every house, by the way, has a field of some sort. So the honey guy has the little honey hut. The bread guy has the wheat fields, and this guy has all the potatoes and just other stuff that's also the fields around there. And yeah, so these are the 3 houses I built. So my thought was I'm keeping this area free because it's supposed to be like a marketplace, like the center of the village, and I'm not sure what to build in there, so that's why I haven't built anything in there yet, but I'm keeping it free. Also not completely sure what I'm gonna build in here, but it's probably gonna be more houses, and yeah, so that's kind of what I want to do. And I also built I expanded the sewers. So down here, so these 2 houses are the already built ones that you've already seen. This hatch, I added this because if you're standing here, like before I added that, if you just stood here, it was a bit too dark, like you couldn't see very well. I'm gonna add night potion so that you guys can truly see the tunnel. So it was very, very dark this bit, and then I just added this part because then I have an excuse to put a light source here. And yeah, so here you just end up in the middle of the future marketplace, and it isn't too distracting or anything. Like, once this place is filled up with stalls of people selling stuff, it won't be too much. Like, you won't see it too badly. And I don't know, I just think it's a nice little detail to have. Once we get down here, then you get down here and the houses. So this house is a bit different. This is the grocery store with all the vegetables. Like, I had to build this a bit weirdly. I had to build that a bit weirdly because with the stairs, and I just had to do a little loop around. And my thought was maybe because I added a hatch here, like I'm gonna expand this basement here around here, and it's just gonna be a normal basement. And only if you go back here and specifically open the hatch is it a secret escape tunnel to the sewers. And yeah, and then over here you just have the 2 standard the other 2 houses that I worked pretty that were able to go in there pretty good. And yeah, then you just end up there. So yeah, that's all I've built in the last day and a half, pretty much. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm very close to 70 at the moment, and I'd like to reach 70 before my birthday at the end of the month. I'm already hyped for that. I hope I can get a new microphone because the current one is not really the best. So I'm hoping on that, and yeah, see you next time, and I hope you enjoyed the video.